So let's talk about personal agency within pagan practice. And firstly, you'll have to excuse me, I am homesick today, my brain's a little foggy, but a mutual of mine has been having this discussion over on their page. And that is Trey Dorn. I will tag Trey in this video because while this video isn't them specific, it is going to draw on a lot of that interaction. So Trey posted a video the other day simply saying, was it really a deity interaction, or is that simply your subconscious trying to push you towards the thing that you know you need? And the comments erupted, as they always do in those kind of videos. Some comments giving like hyper specific, detailed, personal kind of examples, which like no one's here to argue your UPG, chill. But the overarching theme of a lot of the comments was that you don't get to choose if a deity interacts with you. It happens, and you have to listen. Do you know where it says that? Do you want to know where it says that? The Bible. Across paganism, and I mean religious paganism for this, there are very, very few examples of the gods punishing man. There are plenty of examples of the gods punishing each other for not listening or misbehaving, etc., but there are very few examples of the gods punishing man for not listening. Now, I will say, just as a bridge here, there are plenty of kind of folklore stories that do provide examples. There are many kind of European stories that talk about fairies and fae punishing humans. But being that that is not a religious practice, nor does it fall under any branch of neo-paganism, we're going to leave that out for this conversation. But I was watching a little bit of a live the other night of a few creators talking about their deity interactions, which on this platform can go from anywhere from, an intelligent discourse to entirely unhinged real fast. But the thing that caught my attention was how often these people were discussing that their deity interactions were uncomfortable and abrasive and that they had no choice in the matter. It was something happening to them. And I would genuinely like to know where it is written, what evidence has been provided that this is a thing, beyond just the social media UPG of it. Because one of the hallmarks of our pagan path and practice is that it gives us more agency. A lot of the trauma that people experience through the Abrahamic faiths come from a lack of agency. You will be punished in this life if you don't behave according to this God's law. Now, there are pagan paths that have a kind of punishment post-mortem, a kind of hell, if you would. But a lot of modern pagan practices has also adopted the premise of multiple lifetimes, reincarnation. So this punishment post-mortem is not exclusively pagan. But from all of my readings, from my own history in UPG, I have been a practicing pagan for quite some time. If you don't want to work with a certain entity, you don't have to. There is no pagan practice or anything that requires you to give up your agency. Now, most of the mythos that we encounter when it comes to pagan practice, whether that's Norse paganism, Hellenistic paganism, Celtic paganism, etc., are intended to be parables for experiences that are common within life. That's why we relate to them. But these myths are never meant to be expressed as scripture, as law. They are examples given about the human experience. And so while I was listening to this live, the people in it were often coming back to this idea of scripture, this idea of having no agency. They didn't have a choice. This deity put me through this situation, and it made me really unhappy and really uncomfortable, in the hope, I guess, that there was a broader plan at hand, that there was something they had to learn from this experience, which again is something that I feel needs to be really deconstructed in people. That the idea that the great plan for your existence is in someone else's hands. While most pagan practice emphasizes that the gods are there to assist with the choices that we are making for ourselves, the accountability, the onus is on you. And in my opinion, does a disservice and even a disrespect to the gods to say that this situation that you're in, that you don't like, etc., etc., is their fault. This discomfort that I feel, this self-reflection that is painful to me, is because someone else or something, a god, pushed you into it, rather than taking on the accountability and responsibility and saying, I needed to go through this, I needed to process this, I needed and entered into this experience, and the gods were there as my support system. They supported me through the choices that I made. But I guess ultimately it's down to perspective and the amount of deconstruction that you are comfortable having in your path and practice. But I will say, the agency as a pagan is always yours. Your choices and experiences are down to you. And I would just like to have more people see the power in that.